Hey guys, we're down here at the River Bottom Farm. Got a list of projects to get done today. Before we get too much into that, I was going to give you guys an update on the shed hunting so far. We have not matched up any of those bucks that we found a couple weeks ago. That was Merino and the Crab Claw 10 and Dak. But we did do a little more walking, and I was able to find the match set off of this. It was a nice 4-year-old last year. We called him the 4-year-old with the inside points. We never named him. Actually, the last 3 antlers I picked up out here, me and the girls found this one from 2 years ago out in the wetland. This is the antler. I actually encountered this deer the night I passed Prodigy out in the middle of the wetland. He was with him and found this antler right in that area. And then this year, he's one we have a lot of hope in. He definitely made a nice jump. Big excited to see what he does next year. I had an up close and personal encounter with him this year at the head of the slough on the ground. Chase and I walking in for an afternoon hunt. He came strolling by at about 10 yards. So I found this set just right in his bed. Pretty cool to find those. And then I picked up this one antler off of this deer I was calling Blanco. We have a couple years of history with him, and Chase and I had an encounter with him at 20 yards underneath the tree. So hopefully, we have a little more time to do some walking out here, and hopefully we can match up some of these other bucks. But that's a little update on what we have so far.
Today we're at a spot on the property we call the South Plot, and this is the closest food that we have to the primary bedding, which is back in the peninsula. And this has been a very productive stand location for us. We have a stand back here in the corner over my shoulder, and especially the last 2 years. In 2019, this is where Mike killed that girly buck. It was kind of cutting this inside corner in late October. Last year in 2020 is where Grant killed the buck we call Bob. He was coming out into the plot. And also, I guess early in 2020, the end of the 2019 season is also when we had Merino. We had all those encounters back and forth. And this is where Mike had his encounter where he missed him with the muzzleloader. So we've had some memorable hunts from this stand, and we're just trying to, our main project today is to try to improve it, make it better. If you look through this timber, especially this time of year, back behind this plot is really open, and there's not many deer that bed really close to this plot. They usually are a lot further back where there's better cover. So we're gonna try to change that and improve that a little bit by falling some trees. And our plan is to create more horizontal cover closer. It's gonna do a couple things. It's gonna increase the bedding as far as the proximity to the plot, maybe resulting in more daylight movement out here, but it's also gonna help with the entry and exit for us. So when we're coming in and out of the stand, there's not deer that can see for a really long time and potentially bust back away from the plot. It's gonna add some horizontal ground cover. It's gonna make entry and exit a lot more effective.
So this timber is pretty classic river bottom timber, a lot of soft maple, and particularly behind us here, and some soft rolling sloughs and slight elevations. The grass really grows on those slight elevations, and everything else is pretty much barren of grass. So our goal is to get in there. We're gonna get 50 yards to 100 yards maybe off that plot, lay the trees in an east-west direction so that it blocks us really well coming in and out, as Jared mentioned, and try to get some sunlight down in there and hopefully get some of this canary grass and river bottom grass growing in there to create more bedding and just more of that ground level cover.
So this is the actual tree stand that we're doing all this work around. And initially, our first year of ownership, we put it in an oak tree I'm looking at about 20 yards away. It was the best tree. It was nice and straight, it had cover, but it was just too far off the plot. A lot of those deer were just pushing out way out of bow range. So we moved the stand to this tree here. It's a maple, and it's not ideal. It's not the straightest tree. It loses cover really quick, but it's worked really well. Obviously, as you can see, we've had some really good hunts from this stand.
It's the afternoon of Saturday, October 26th. It's about 4 o'clock, and Jake and I are set up for the hunt. The neighbor is combining all of his beans right here. You can hear the combine going. And I think he'll be combining right up till dark, but he finished getting his corn out a few days ago, and they're gonna get all the beans out here pretty soon. So I imagine all the deer are gonna be heading out there to eat. Hopefully they'll hold up here and stage for a minute. Man, his eyes are black.
Right.
Dude, that's Todd, right? I think he just went down. None of these deer are coming in the food plot. They're all walking in the timber. And he was coming right downwind of us. I was able to stop him at 27 yards. That was awesome. He's coming out of the woods right there. Look at him. Look at him right behind the does. I'm gonna shoot him, okay? I'm gonna shoot him. I'm gonna try to let him turn, but I'm just gonna shoot him. You ready? I don't know. Did I miss him? I think after 7, 8 encounters, he's gonna live to fight another day. Pretty dang frustrating.
Alright, it's the afternoon of October 18th and Grant and I are settled in. Grant is actually in the hot seat tonight and I'm behind the camera. So we'll see, we can see a lot of ground, and getting to be that time of year that these bucks are going to be coming to these spots. So fingers crossed it's going to be a good night, and we'll get Grant a buck on the ground by the time it's over. Which one are you going to kill tonight?
Hopefully Bob. That's the top of my list right there. He definitely looks 3 to me. Man, he does kind of look good though. Is that it right there? Gosh dang it. Oh God, are you kidding me?
There he is right there. The story of Bob is over. Man, this has been a long time coming for me. This is my first Iowa buck, and man, am I pumped to have one on the ground.
A couple things that makes this stand productive and in a good spot. One, the location of it is good for entry and exit. We're able to stay basically on the perimeter of the property to get into it. And also now Mike owns the other side of the fence, so we're able to kind of stay on the perimeter of both properties to get in. And two, of course, it's on a food plot, so you have that attraction, but it sets up on a really good inside corner. So most of the movement we see is from the peninsula. They use this as a transition area out to the bigger ag fields. That's the destination food source. So as you can see, basically on Mike's late October hunt for Todd Gurley, he was cruising, never even came into the food plot, cruising this inside corner, heading out to the ag fields, and gave Mike a 20-yard shot. So you have multiple things going on other than just a stand on a food plot, which I really like about this stand. I see it being a productive stand for the years to come. This is one of those that we don't really have to tweak. We're just making the nearby area a little more attractive to the deer to bed a little closer. So far I'm loving how this looks in here. This changes this a lot. You gotta be careful cutting trees in areas like this because there's also a lot of dead trees, especially up top. You always have to make sure you're looking and seeing what potentially fallen tree is laying on the one you cut so it doesn't come crashing down on you. we're focusing, like Mike said, there's a lot of soft maples in here. They're easy to cut, they hinge decently well. These hackberries also, especially around about this size, hinge really well too. And some trees were just falling, some of the dead ashes and stuff were just falling, but some of these trees were hinge cutting just because, like we said earlier, we want that instant horizontal cover to block and screen some of our entry and exit. So hinge cutting is not always the best scenario depending on what you're wanting, but for us right now in this particular spot, that hinge cut somewhere around waist level, maybe a little bit higher, has seemed to work really well. I'm just kind of eyeballing the food plot and looking as far as how that visibility is changing. It's working really well so far.
Well, we're just getting wrapped up with the project here and pretty happy with how it turned out. About 100 yards off this food plot all the way around. We hinge cut some of the smaller ones and laid over some of the bigger ones, and it's really created a nice visual barrier, which is what our goal was. And we've got a couple main entry points into the plot, and I'm excited to see how this will work this fall, funneling deer past the stand.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, especially as far as funneling deer movement. That was kind of a benefit we didn't talk about, but this river bottom, they can kind of walk wherever they want, and now it's going to be a lot more forced and more strategic locations. So happy with how today turned out. Moving forward, of course, we have a ton of projects on this property. It seems to be never ending, but next on the list is burning. Hopefully when things dry out here within the next week, we'll be able to do that. Mike's going to do some mowing today, mow the fire break, so it's all ready to go. And also on the off-season series here coming up, we just got back from our first turkey hunt of the year out in Nebraska. Had a good time out there, so all that content is going to be coming pretty soon as all the seasons start opening up here in the Midwest. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Monday.